Have you ever had a situation where you've been working, got called away, ended up speaking with somebody, only to find out later on you had a big smudge on your face? Well, that was the intent of this utility sink. It's happened probably to all of us, and this is why things like a mirror and some water are really helpful. Today we're talking about the laver. And if you're familiar with the tabernacle setup, there is a courtyard. And the first thing you come to in that courtyard is an altar. And that's where the burnt sacrifices would occur. And then between the altar and the tabernacle proper is a laver. And this laver is so interesting is because after the priest had been performing the sacrifice, when they had to go into the holy place to conduct their services, they would wash up. No doubt, working at the altar was going to cause them to be soiled. There's going to be blood on their hands, and so that's going to have to be taken care of. This laver was so interesting. In Exodus 38, verses 8 and also verse 20, it says, "And he made a laver of brass, and the foot of it was brass, of the looking glasses of the women's assembly, which is assembled at the door of the tabernacle, the congregation, and the pins of the tabernacle and the courts round about were of brass." And so there was this laver, this basin that was made out of the looking glasses that came from the women as they came out of Egypt. This is very, very interesting because when you're washing up, you need to see what's going on. And it's said that when they made this basin, that brass shined like a mirror, and they could literally see their reflection in this basin. The devotionalist puts James 1:25 down here. At the bottom it says, "Who's looking in the perfect law of liberty, and continueth therein, being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed." We need to really look into that perfect law of liberty and really begin to see what it is in our lives that needs to be addressed. In Ephesians 5, starting in verse 25, it says, "Husbands, love your wife, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of the water by the word, that he might present to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish." So here we see that God is going to take his church, and how he is going to wash his church is through the washing of the water of the word. So we see it's the word of God that really does the cleansing. And so that's why it's so important to look into the perfect law of liberty. That's why it's very important to be in the word of God on a regular basis. Now, that is a way to examine yourself. But once you've examined yourself, then you need to do something. There's got to be some action that is taking place. In 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 20, it says, "In a great house there are not only vessels of gold and silver, but also of wood and of earth, and some of honor, and some to dishonor. If a man therefore purge himself from these, he shall be a vessel unto honor, sanctified and meet for the master's use, and be prepared unto every good work. If a man therefore purge or wash himself." There's got to be some action on our part. Yes, God does the ultimate cleansing. There's no question about that. But we have got to come to the laver. We have got to come to the water. We've got to come and see the condition that we're in. Probably the best picture of how God does his cleansing through the word is when the disciples in John 13 really kind of allowed Jesus to wash their feet with that basin. Same kind of idea as this laver. And he went around and he washed. And it's astounding that talks about how you're washed by the word. And John says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Verse 14, and the Word became flesh. It's talking about Jesus. And here's Jesus that is literally washing the disciples' feet. So it makes me think when I was a little boy, I did not want to stop playing or doing whatever we were doing to be washed. I didn't want to wash my hands before I ate. I don't know why. You might identify. I just didn't have time for that. And I wonder, now that I'm an adult, if you're an adult, do we still kind of do that same thing? I headed out of here one day, heard the UPS guy come. We had a conversation that lasted quite some time, and it wasn't until later that I realized I had a big old smudge on my face. And the whole time, he's seeing that. I had no idea I had it. I was completely unaware. Most times I'm unaware of the smudges in my life. It's only until I look into the mirror. It's only until I look into the perfect law of liberty. It's only until the Word of God reflects back on me and my heart the condition that I have. And then I submit myself, as the disciples had to Jesus that he might wash us. May you, as you look into the perfect law of liberty, begin to examine yourself in such a way and yield yourself to the Lord that he might wash you. God bless you. Thank you so much as we continue to look at the tabernacle, and I hope it's an exciting journey for you as it is for me. God bless.